What if I told you never have to worry about sending cold outreach messages again or hassling your clients for referrals, and instead building a weird but simple paid ad system that attracts dream clients to your door with cash in hand daily, which can fix your marketing problem once and for all. But first, let me give you some backstory. In the past 3 years, I've worked with countless clients in over 100 different niches. And while working with these clients, helping them scale their business, one of our biggest clients actually doing $2.2 million in a month, I've also ran my own service business and taken it from $0 to $100,000 a month solely through paid ads. This is while having little to no following, not desperately following up with prospects through cold outreach, or didn't even have a website for the longest time. On top of that, I don't have a huge payroll. My team is literally me and 3 other team members. So if you're a service-based company, I'm going to show you how to take back control of growing your company, stop settling for an income that's a feast one month and a famine the next, and finally be able to flood your business with as many clients and customers as you can possibly handle. Because look, you know it, I know it. There's a lot of BS, complicated ad systems out there trying to confuse you to get you to buy their course. I'm not going to do that in this video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show the secret of how to flip attention into clients with a client acquisition system from paid ads that runs in the background while you focus on what you do best within your company. This paid ad system is so simple that I'm going to map it out in this entire video so you can paste it into your business and start getting inbound clients coming to your door with cash in hand daily. I'm going to peel back the curtain of everything I have learned through scaling services through paid ads, but also show you how to get a massive ROI doing it, because ultimately that's why you're watching this video. So here is what this video aims to achieve for you. All right, so let's dive into the 3 main objectives. So objective number 1 is building the right foundation so you can design your service in a way where you are not capped by how many customers you can take on, but also avoiding the churn and burn model that I see so many service companies actually struggle with. The next thing is going to be the marketing strategy. So we will put together a marketing strategy that doesn't rely on organic marketing or referrals, which are both inconsistent and unscalable. What we're trying to do is we're trying to automate and fix this constant problem that service companies are facing where they can't predict where their next customer is coming from. Finally, we want to go into projections. So I want to be able to give to you, whether you want to hit your first $100K, $1 million, $10 million a year, I will cover, and I want to cover exactly how to reverse engineer the economics to predictably hit those numbers without luck or without talent. So let's dive in. So specifically what this video will cover is number 1, the paid ads economics of scale. So the foundations your business needs to hit your goals. If you do not get these principles right, you'll not be able to grow. I'll dive into that in a moment. Second thing is going to be the funnel and sales process. So not only do we want to get the ads right, but more importantly than getting the ads right is how are we actually going to convert them into a sales call or a customer, right? I'm going to explain that in this video too. So I'm not just giving you how to create a winning ad. I'm giving you the entire system that the ads will actually work with. So the third thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create winning ad creatives in under 30 minutes. So what that involves is I'm going to live in this video write out winning ad creatives so you can see exactly and just copy and paste exactly how we write winning ads for our clients and use it for your business. Now the next thing is going to be setting projections. So I'm going to talk about how to set and hit your business goals fairly easy using paid ads, numbers, and data. So I'll get more into that later in this video. So right now, before getting into, how to run ads, all the technical stuff there, let's make sure that you're absolutely optimized for scale and more importantly, optimized for ads. Because I talk to dozens and dozens and dozens of businesses every single week, and most of them I talk to who want to get started with ads don't actually have the foundations right, so they can't get started with ads. So I'm going to give you the foundations in this video. The first thing is going to be understanding your customer. So the core difference that I've seen between a 6 and 7-figure business is how well you understand your customer. Now, understanding your customer, you have to think. If you cannot think about who your customer is, how are you going to write compelling marketing or create compelling marketing that is going to attract them, right? It all starts with understanding who the customer is, so the ads we can create is literally talking directly to them. Now, a lot of service companies I talk to aren't clear on who their customer actually is. They don't know the specifics about them. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in this video. Now, understanding this alone is going to completely change your marketing because you will be able to understand what they have tried, why they are failing at what they're trying, and how you are different and how you fix their problems. What that involves is specifically understanding what their typical age, background, and demographic is. Do they have a pain they're running from, which I'll get onto shortly. Now, keep in mind, just get clear on if you're business is under the niche of health, wealth, or relationships, okay? The third thing is going to be the level of awareness that they're typically operating on. So are they unaware? Are they problem aware? Are they solution aware? If you're not sure, I'm going to get onto that shortly. Everything is working against you if you do not understand these three things. So let's dive deeper. The first thing is going to be understanding what their typical age, background, and demographic is. Essentially what it means is, who is your target customer? When I ask that question, like, who do you think of? Who comes to mind? Now, what I found is it's going to be a previous customer of yours. When you actually think about who is my target customer, a previous customer will immediately come to mind in your head. And the reason why that happens is because it was someone so perfect to work with that, you know, you got the best results working with them, they paid you the most, and they were the easiest to get results for. So there's two buckets there. They got the best results working with you, and it was the easiest to get results for. So it was actually someone who came in, and it wasn't that hard compared to other people who weren't that successful and who you actually had to work more to make them successful, compared to this person who came in and they were the most successful with the least amount of effort on your part. You're always going to see that. Like, it's kind of like the 80-20 rule, where out of all your customer base, there's going to be 20% who were just so easy to get results for, who didn't require a lot of effort, and they got the best results. They were the best case study. They paid you the most. They were the least hassle. Think about that when I'm explaining this, because we want to double down on those types of people, because those types of people are your top of market, the most profitable people you can work with. Now, write that person clearly in a notebook so you know who your target customer is. Super clear. The next thing is going to be, do they have a pain that they're running away from? So one of the most powerful psychological principles is loss aversion, which is basically where a real or potential loss is perceived by humans, by us, as psychologically or emotionally more severe than gain. So I'll repeat that. The fear of potential loss is more severe than the, I guess, love and the desire of gain. So we naturally are more averse to running away from pain as opposed to gaining. Now, this is really important to think about in your marketing, because a lot of the time, what I see so many service companies doing is they fall into the trap where they are selling the gain. And you're not going to get people who have urgency and who actually need your service. What we're trying to do is we're trying to design your service in a way where even if there's a recession or a market downturn, you still are in demand, because you are selling a need, not a want. And how you sell a need, not a want, is you sell to pain, not desire. So for example, a typical person is going to be more motivated not to lose $100 as opposed to gaining $100. Or the person overweight is going to be more motivated to get healthy when they realize the potential of getting a disease as opposed to just being in, great shape and feeling good. So it's only when humans actually feel pain, like they could lose their life, or they could lose money, where they're going to take an action and make a change, right? That's why insurance is such a profitable, crazy business model to be in, because insurance is completely built off the idea of loss aversion. Insurance essentially is you got to think that people buy from insurance because they are scared of losing money on their car or house if they get flooded, etc. That is what insurance is built off of, completely built of loss aversion. I mean, most of the time, you're never going to need to use your insurance because an accident's never going to happen. But you're still paying them every single month, every single year to use their insurance. So that is how profitable, how powerful insurance is, because it's built completely off of loss aversion. Now, a study found that around 70 to 80% of people are more motivated to avoid pain as opposed to chase pleasure. That is the majority of your target market. So if you are not using loss aversion in your marketing, you are completely handicapping yourself. You must sell to pain over desire, and otherwise your business will just be completely built off a nice to have, not a need. And any business built off a nice to have will fail during a recession where people are more strapped for cash. Okay, so let me tell you how we did this with one of our clients. So for example, Greg here, who helps speakers get more opportunities. Originally, he was targeting aspiring speakers who wanted to get into the industry, and typically they had a 9-to-5, but they wanted to break free and get into their passion for speaking. Now, the problem was this was a nice to have, and he was struggling to close deals. So what we did was we transitioned to a more must have, which meant slightly changing the market. So what that meant was we changed to full-time speakers who are struggling with a lack of opportunities. Now, there's more pain here, as they're already a speaker and they make a living doing this. So not getting the opportunities means they are financially unstable. So there's more pain and need for Greg's service, which helped him close more deals, and his ads began crushing. You can see on the screenshots there. So some more examples of selling to pain over desire is a bad way, like in red, the old way, the bad way, is how you can have a full cybersecurity protection so you can run your business with confidence. And the better way would be how you can have full cybersecurity protection so you can avoid a bad reputation and losing enterprise deals. Now, the next way is how you can earn a green card so you can finally live in the United States. Instead, what would be better is how you can escape the painful wait for a green card and finally unlock your opportunity living in the United States. With all these examples, again, this comes to understanding your customer. With that second one right there, we know that the market struggles and their current problem is waiting so long to get a green card. It can take multiple years in some cases. And they want to move to the United States to unlock their freedom. Most of these people might be living in like China or another country where they don't want to live anymore, they want to move to the United States. Now, the third thing is going to be how to fix your hair and boost your confidence. Instead of that, we want to say how to quickly fix your hair loss and regain the confidence you once had. So these are examples of just tiny repositions, which will completely help you stand out because you are selling to the pain, not just desire. So this means you need to design your steps off of this. So you can see down here, that not only are we getting clear on the customer here, but we want to get clear on the steps that they need to be successful. So what are the steps that you put in place for them to run away from this pain? So for the cybersecurity example, we make sure that they have all the documents in place so they don't lose out on enterprise deals. The green card example is we have a 96% success rate, which ensures that they're almost guaranteed their freedom moving to the United States with more opportunities for their future family. Now the hair transplant example is typical hair transplants are 30 to 40K. So ours is a fraction of that with a 100% success rate, so they don't have to spend their life savings on this transplant. They can save a lot of money and increase their chances of being successful. That is the steps that we put in place for them to be successful. It's likely in this case, you're gonna be able to write out 3 to 5 steps for them to be successful. So think about that, think about what those are and start designing those because those are gonna be what completes the ads economics and your business economics to actually be able to scale. So last but not least is going to be the level of awareness that your customer is at. This is super important so your marketing can meet where your customer is actually at. What do I mean by that? Well, there's 3 buckets your customers are going to fall into. Either unaware, problem aware, or solution aware. So unaware means that they don't know they have a problem. Problem aware is they know they have a problem, but they don't know how. They don't know the solution, essentially. Solution aware is they know they have a problem and they know there's solutions available. Now, your ads and your messaging needs to hit on wherever your customer is at. So you need to know that where, you're gonna know if you've run your service for a while now, you're gonna know just looking at this, where your customers fit into. Because when you sell to them, when you sell them your service, you're gonna see on the sales calls directly, like, okay, are they even aware that they have a problem? Do I have to make them aware of the problem on the sales call? Or do they come to the sales call aware they have a problem? Or are they aware of all the solutions and they're just considering whether to go with me or someone else? Ask yourself that question because the marketing needs to hit on those 3 things. And we'll talk about that later on in this video. But right now, it's important for you to get clear where they're at so you can meet them where they're at. Because if you try and do marketing that's like solution aware based, solution aware messaging to someone who's unaware, it's obviously not going to hit. It's not going to resonate with them, so they're not going to take action with you. So for example, unaware can be the reason you will struggle to close enterprise deals is because you're not cyber secure with your business. Problem aware could be you're currently living in the US and you're hoping to get a green card, but stuck waiting months or even years to get accepted. Well, what if I told you there was a quicker way? You see, like at the end there, how I'm introducing the solution. And solution aware, I would position it in some ways different. Where I would say, you've already tried most other hair transplant procedures, or you've been considering other procedures to fix your hair problem. You see how the customer there is aware that there's other procedures available, but the thing is with them is they cost an arm and a leg, and instead there's a faster, more cost-friendly way to actually fix your hair. And what this does is this is going to complete the first kind of diagram here. You can see where we get clear on who is the person that you're selling to, what are the steps, and the dream outcome, because the dream outcome is created by understanding where they're at. Because what you can create the outcome that they actually want by meeting them where they're at, right? We can basically talk about the dream outcome in the messaging, in the marketing messaging, as we're as we're talking to wherever they're at, whether they're unaware, problem aware, or solution aware. So by this point, you know who your ICP is, so ideal customer profile. You know the steps that they need to escape the pain, which becomes your service. Like the steps that they need to get away from pain, which essentially your service fits into because your service is helping them escape that pain. And the dream outcome situation, which is the final destination that your service delivers to your ICP. Now let's talk about how to price your service. So the typical way to charge your service is by charging month to month. So say $3,000 a month. Now this is flawed through paid ads. And the reason is when you factor in customer acquisition costs from paid ads, it costs money to make money. And this is what service companies don't think about when they're starting ads. They just think of, oh yeah, it's like I'm just, not going to have any customer acquisition costs. But when you do introduce paid ads, the one thing about it is there are going to be customer acquisition costs. It does cost money to make money at the end of the day. Now, we've seen typical customer acquisition costs be around $2,000 to $3,000 for a service. So charging $3K a month will hardly make you break even. Say, your customer acquisition cost is $3,000 and you're charging $3,000 a month. Well, you're just about break even. And that essentially means that most people watching this video, you can't really do that. You can't afford to lose money in the first month. So the best way I have found to actually charge your services, price your services, is in packages and commitments. So for example, instead of charging $3,000 a month, charge $8,000 for 3 months up front. And you might be thinking, well, Ciaran, I can't do that. Like, how can I do that? You can position your service. If you think about it too, it's actually more affordable for them because if you're doing $3K a month, it'd be $9K for 3 months. Instead, it's $8K for 3 months. But you collect more cash up front, which is going to help you be immediately more profitable from ads and reinvest back into ads. So there's a few reasons why this is better. You collect more cash up front, which you can reinvest into ads. You attach a more substantial result at the end of the 3 months. If you think about it, it's actually a longer time that the business, your client, is committing to work with you to actually see results. So if they're committing more time to work with you and see results, you can make a more substantial result and get better results for your clients. Now, you'll get better results because there's more time to actually make progress. And the goal is here, the reason why we do this is the goal is to make lifetime value, or LTV, exceed CAC, or customer acquisition cost, as much as possible. So lifetime value is obviously the amount a customer spends with you on average during the lifetime of working with your service. And CAC is how much it costs you to acquire a customer, right? So say you spend, $3,000, you acquire one customer, that customer costs you $3,000 to acquire. The reason you're charging more upfront is better as well, is you raise your LTV more. So assuming your service obviously gets results. This is always assuming your service gets results. But you can charge more upfront for 3 months, and that means your customer's committed to thinking longer term with you. It means that you'll get your customer bigger and better results, and they'll love you more. And it also means they're more likely to continue after the 3 months due to already spending 3 months with you and already building that relationship. In a month, not many services can actually get that many substantial results. It's hard in a month. But in 3 months, you can do so much more with that client and get them better results, which is going to activate their commitment and consistency to actually stay with you for the long term. So we've seen many of our clients retain their customers for around 8 months on average, which means that say you're charging $3,000 a month, that additional, $15,000 in monthly retainers after that upfront $8,000 package is huge, because suddenly a customer you signed for $8,000 upfront is worth an additional $15,000, which means they are worth $23,000 in lifetime value. The reason why is they spent after the first 3 months, so for another 5 months, they spent $3,000 with you, which adds up to $15,000 on top of the original $8,000 they paid up front, which means they're worth $23,000 in lifetime value, which is your goal to get to. You want your customers and your clients to be worth as much as possible. You don't want to operate on a churn and burn agency model where you just lose your customers after the first month, after the second month, and they're not actually worth that much to you. The way you're going to win in this game is lifetime value. If your customer acquisition costs from paid ads are $3,000, well, you're making, $20,000 in profit from this customer right here. That was, had $23,000 in lifetime value. Suddenly, you're making $20,000 per client in profit for the business. This gives you much more leg room to spend on advertising than your competition, because your customer is worth a substantial amount for you. Even if that $3,000 rises to $5,000 in customer acquisition costs, that's okay, because in the back end, you're making a lot more money than that. And this is how you win at paid ads. One of the greatest, online marketers, Dan Kennedy, always says that he who can spend the most to acquire a customer wins. So what he means by that is because your lifetime value is so high, you can spend so much more to acquire a customer. You're okay, even if you're making 20K per profit per customer from a 3K, CPA, even if it rises to 5K and this becomes 18K, that's still okay. You're still making a lot of profit per customer. And the key is that you're able to spend $3,000 to acquire a customer, which most businesses, most services can't do. They aren't prepared to do, and that's why they ultimately lose, because ad costs are always going to go up. And if the way your economics in your business works is you can fight against that and you have so much leg room to spend to get clients, you're going to win because you're going to outspend your competitors who can't spend as much as you, and you're going to get in front of more of your target market and close more deals. And that also another mindset shift to have here is that higher ticket products are actually easier to grow. So this is something I got from Peter Thiel, where you have like this scale, right? So $1 like kind of products are like rely on viral marketing, rely on say like a Super Bowl ads. Okay, like most of the ads you see through the Super Bowl are from like really low ticket products. It relies on viral marketing that people talk about to get a lot of like millions of people to buy, right? Another example of viral marketing could be like Mr. Beast. Like Mr. Beast gets millions and millions of views, but his cost for a view and even to buy his chocolate is like a couple cents, right? So although he's getting like lots of views, he can't sell like really higher ticket products. He's got to sell, chocolate and really low ticket stuff that appeals to the masses, right? The next step would be marketing, where you're getting more into like e-commerce, online products, like healthcare products, where the cost per acquisition is going to be a bit higher because you're going after a bit more of a niche audience. And you got to use marketing, you still got to use ads to acquire those people, but the cost to acquire customers is going to be a little bit higher. It's going to be more like $100. And then in the middle here, you have this dead zone, where selling anywhere from like $100 to $10,000 is a dead zone. And the reason why Peter Thiel says this is that you're basically going to be selling to small businesses, right? Or you're not going to be selling to businesses that are that substantial, even with customers who aren't like rich enough to really, really, really maximize their lifetime value with you. And then you're charging like $5,000, for example. But the problem is that a $5,000 product, it's going to cost you like $2,000 to $3,000 to actually acquire that customer, which means you're hardly making any profit off of that. Now, when you get into like the 10 grand, you're selling for something for 10 grand, well, then you have that more leg room. If you're paying $2,000 to $3,000 to acquire a customer, or 4 to 5, well, at least you're making 10 in from the customer, so you can have a bit more profit to work with, and that's where sales comes into place. And then you have complex sales, which is like selling to big businesses, government, and just selling $1 million packages where you might only close like a couple deals a year, but they're worth so much to you. Pretty much everyone watching this, if you're selling a service, you're going to be here. So we're going to talk about this specifically. But this is to tell you that you want to be selling something high ticket. There's no pride in charging anywhere like below $5,000 for a service, right? Price undercutting is a loser's game. There's always going to be someone who can undercut you in price and therefore take all your customers. If what you're competing on with your service is price, you're going to lose. Like, you will not win. Peter Thiel, like I said, calls anywhere from really $1,000 to under $10,000 the dead zone. And the reason being is anywhere in that price range, there's nowhere to like advertise necessarily effectively where you'll have enough margin like for your business. So like, if you're selling something that's kind of underneath $10,000, it's going to be really hard like for your service to be profitable because the customer acquisition costs of your service are going to be much higher, right? So investing the time to get someone to pay you $3,000 actually takes pretty much the same time as $10,000. However, there's less margin for you at the end to reinvest in growth. So you may as well charge higher. You may as well figure out, how can I sell the same person for $10,000 instead of $3,000? Like in the service as well, potential customers will always want a sales call. So you may as well focus on how you can sell a higher ticket package on that sales call instead of a lowball amount that doesn't actually make you a lot of money and doesn't help your service business actually grow. One last thing I'll also mention before getting into the funnel and sales process is that I want you to understand a concept called top, middle, and bottom markets. So top of market is going to be your most qualified leads. Middle of market is going to be your semi-qualified leads. And bottom of market is going to be your unqualified leads, okay? Now, if you were a marketing agency targeting agencies above 250 grand a month, the messaging would be less geared towards signing new clients and more towards retaining the clients. Because if you think about it, at 250K a month, the business probably isn't going to have problems signing new clients. they may have no problems retaining them. I know just from first-hand experience that those types of businesses have a problem retaining at that level and maintaining the 250K a month. And that also goes back to loss aversion, where they don't want to lose their clients. They want to maintain what they have even more than they want to grow. If you were targeting students, taking their SATs for college, the messaging would be less geared towards just passing their SATs, but more geared towards, getting into an Ivy League school, for example, right? Like if you want to go towards your top of market, you may as well go after the really smart, intelligent students who want to get into Harvard, Stanford, Oxford, those types of schools, because they're going to pay the most and you're going to be able to get them the best results getting them in a school like Harvard. If you were building software for successful entrepreneurs, the messaging would be less geared towards just like building a new software and more like increasing enterprise value within their collective of companies that this entrepreneur may have. So going back to the top of market, like it's really clear to get clear on who is your top of market, who is your top, middle, and bottom. Because your advertising that we are going to design later in this video needs to go after that top of market person who is going to pay you the most, who is going to get the best results, and is going to be the easiest to get results for. While I say this though, like you don't want to ignore your middle of market, because most of your market is going to be in that middle. You can always downsell the prospect. A question we get a lot is like, this person doesn't have X, Y, and Z. I can't serve them as they don't fit the criteria for my product or service. And that's why I like to always downsell the offer and guarantee. Because as mentioned before, like naturally speaking to your top of market in your marketing message will bring in middle of market prospects, since there is an element of your offer that they still actually desire, right? And completely ignoring them is basically lighting money on fire, because the middle of the market is so much bigger than the top of market, and the chances are they can still benefit from your product or service to an extent. So for example, like with my business, Customers on Command, we like to work with companies doing $100,000 plus a month, right? That's considered our top of market. However, we still attract prospects doing, 35 grand a month. But getting me, if I was closing, or my sales team, to completely write them off as an unqualified, prospect is a terrible mindset to have. Because we can still help them. We may just need to adjust our offer or guarantee to meet their level. We wouldn't be able to scale without this mindset, because there's less of a top of market. So there'd be too long of a sales cycle to close that top of market that thousands of dollars a day in ad spend, if you ever get to that level, wouldn't be able to sustain. And not only that, like, why would you limit yourself to only your top of market? If you can help middle of market people, why not help them? Even if you have to downsell like your offer, maybe you give them something cheaper, maybe it's less like hands-off service, maybe you can sell them more of like a do-it-themselves product, maybe you can still deliver your service, but you do it for like a lower guarantee if you have a guarantee. There's a lot of creative ways you can do this, but not serving your middle of market is a huge mistake, because that makes up way more than your top of market. The top of market is at the very top. You have to remember, those people are always going to be scarce and limited. And while you will consistently get them from your ads, you're going to get even more than of the middle of market who you may as well serve, right? So you can downsell the prospect. So if you want to, if you're targeting, you're going for the middle of market people, you're on a sales call with that middle of market person. Like I said, you can downsell the service, and or you can downsell the guarantee. So downselling the service could look like stripping away done for you aspects, making your offer more of like a done with you, do it yourself style, or removing the guarantee but still delivering your service like before. The reason why you can do that obviously is like, if you're removing the guarantee, that means there's less risk on your side, and you can tell them, hey, look, I won't be able to get you the same results I would get for a top of market person, but I can still help you make progress. I can still help you get the desired outcome that you want. Okay, so we just finished paid ads economics to scale. Now we're actually going to get into the specifics of how to run the ads and get these ads live. So let's get into step number 2, which is the funnel and sales process that your ads are going to obviously land on. So as you can see, you have your ads here. You're going to have something I call a video sales letter, which I'm going to get onto now, and then the sales call, right, where you're going to have a sales call with your prospect. So what I always say is like, focus on keeping your funnel simple. Like your goal is simply to get qualified people on sales calls. We've tested every type of funnel for clients, and this is the best one that actually becomes automated with time. This simple type of funnel right here literally adds to what I call a video sales letter, which I'll tell you in a moment what that is, and a sales call, okay? Like we book over 150 calls a month, qualified calls for my own service company, and we get them on sales calls 100% automated. Like I could be booking calls while shooting this video to you. And by the time I come back and check my Slack, I'm gonna have multiple calls that would have come in, right? That's because it's automated. We have a system built where we are collecting qualified inbound, cash in hand prospects to our business every single day, and I don't have to do anything. As you can see, I'm hands off right now. I'm not working in the business. I'm recording this video for you. Now, the biggest component to making this work, I found, is to having a high converting video sales letter. So a video sales letter is essentially a longer form video that when they go through your ad, they see your ad, they click through, they land on your website, your funnel page, and you have a video that basically describes exactly what your service does and like how it works, how you're gonna get them results, that is gonna push them to book a call. You can't just do that in the ad, because the ad, you have to remember, you're just selling the click. The video sales letter is gonna be a longer form video, typically 5, 10, 15 minutes, and it's gonna encourage them to book a sales call with you if they're qualified. Now, I'm gonna show you right now how to build a video sales letter from scratch. Okay, so number one is going to be speaking to the extreme desire plus unique mechanism, which I'll get onto in a moment. But basically running away from pain and showing how you're different. That is essentially what I mean here. Like when I say running away from pain, I go back to the loss aversion that I was talking about, where you're going after like the pain that your prospect is trying to escape, that they are trying to run away from. That is what I mean by running away from pain. And here you're showing how you're different. So that's usually going to include a guarantee if you have one here. So what I like to open it as is like, what if I told you that I can help you get consistent qualified calls for our AI qualified appointment generator, X, Y, and Z. I'm going to show you some examples right now. But first, let me tell you what a unique mechanism is. So a unique mechanism is a framework, algorithm, formula, or secret ingredient that explains exactly how you deliver results in a unique way. The reason why it needs to be unique is that you are most likely in your market, depending on how sophisticated your audience is, going to be competing with a lot of competition, a lot of businesses doing the same thing as you. So we need you to stand out in a unique way, have a secret sauce to what you do, have a secret way of doing it and delivering it, right? Most of the time, that's going to be a way of delivering whatever you do better, faster, or more cost effective. And then what we want to do is we want to package that way you do it in a way that's appealing, in a name that is attractive. Like for us, it's the AI qualified appointment generator. Okay, this is especially important in a crowded market. Like you got to ask yourself, say you're a business coach. There's so many business coaches out there. You need to ask yourself, how do you deliver results better, faster, or more cost effective? Maybe you have a system for specifically helping brick and mortar businesses exit their company. If you're a marketing agency, maybe you have a specific process for helping online businesses optimize their Google ads. You need to find your unique edge and lean right into that. Okay, that is how you're going to be different, stand out, and get calls booked. If you are categorized as the same as the rest of your competition, you're going to really struggle with paid ads, because no one's actually going to book a call with you, because they'll just say to themselves, oh, you're another marketing agency. Oh, this is another business coach, just one of those regular business coaches. No, we need you to have a unique positioning that makes you stand out and makes prospects want to actually go to you specifically. Okay, so example one of that could be like a LinkedIn course. Now, with these examples, I'm going to take them from actual clients that we work with and what we've done, what we've proven, what we've tested, and seen firsthand work. So for this LinkedIn course, what we would say is, what if I told you that in the next 90 days, we can guarantee you 5 new high-paying clients, not by spending thousands of ads, not by spamming people on social media, not by grinding content out day by day, but instead by installing our AI LinkedIn client acquisition system into your business, okay? Example 2 is going back to the green card example that we've spoken about. For example, attention, Indian and Chinese immigrants living in the United States, dreaming of securing your future here, but feeling trapped by endless visa hurdles. What if I told you that we can help you bypass the painful wait for your green card, and if we fail to help you meet the criteria for your EB-1A or O-1A visas, you don't pay. For the dentist consulting, which is another one of our clients, by the way, how we opened it and what we found really work is attention overworked dentists and practice owners. What if I told you that you can finally step back from being trapped chairside all day, every day, and without watching your practice fall apart the moment you're not there? So now we discussed how to open the VSL, the video sales letter. Let's talk about the next step. So what we want to do immediately after we talk to the extreme desire and introduce our unique mechanism is introduce like the market call out and qualifier. So essentially this is just calling out who we specifically want and who we don't want. Okay, so for example, what we say is this is specifically for you if you're an online coach, service provider, or consulting selling a high ticket product or service. Okay, for the green card, it could be this is specifically for you if you're an Indian or Chinese immigrant living in the United States, you're facing long wait times for employment-based green cards under the EB2 or EB3 categories. You're tired of uncertainty with the H1B, I don't even know any of these terms, to be honest, lottery system, or doing day one CPTs to extend your stay in the US. And you're ready to invest in your future with a proven, personalized approach to immigration success. By the way, quick caveat here. You see how I'm talking to the top of the market here? Like the messaging here is going towards people who are in this specific situation. Now, this green card company might get people who aren't necessarily Indian or Chinese or not necessarily like employment-based green cards, like falling under these EB2, EB3 categories and don't exactly fit this type of market. But he can still help them. He still has a system to help them. And that's likely the same with you and your service too. But this is a perfect example of also going after that top of market. Now, example 2, the cybersecurity example, is saying something like, this is specifically for you if your business handles sensitive data like PII, healthcare information, or payment data. You're required to comply with standards like HIPAA, PCI, DSS, SOC. And you're gaining traction with larger clients but getting stumped by security questionnaire. By the way, that's the pain right there. Now the top here isn't as much of a pain, but down here it is, because we're saying like, you're getting traction, you're getting enterprise deals, you're getting potential clients, but you're not landing them because you don't have the right cybersecurity things in place, right? That is like literally the pain is by not getting this cybersecurity company is missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of deals. Next, an agency course would be something like, this is specifically for you if you're a freelancer or you're an agency owner earning $5,000 or less per month, and you're feeling stuck and unable to scale beyond your current income, and you're looking to build a sustainable online business that provides both freedom and flexibility. Now you might be asking here, well Ciaran, like $5,000 or less, that's not like the top of market. Well, it is for this client. And the way his course, the way his service is set up, is he is specifically transforming those freelance or agency owners who are below the $5,000 a month. So sometimes your top of market and bottom of market can actually be inverted. Because this client right here, he can't help agency owners doing $100,000 a month as much. Who he has found to get the best results for and have the most impact for and actually make the most money from is agency owners earning $5,000 or less. So keep that in mind sometimes. Sometimes you need to invert your market because actually sometimes the people who are doing less as successful can actually be your most profitable niche. Okay, number 3 is introducing yourself and or client case studies. So this is where you really want to bulletproof what you do. This is probably the most important part of the VSL. If you skip this part, you're going to lose so much credibility. People won't actually believe in what you're saying. You won't be able to substantiate any claims you're making, any claims of what your service can do. So obviously having case studies here is so important, right? So for example, for the LinkedIn course, why this is a unique approach to client acquisition works so well for service providers like you, even if you've never logged into LinkedIn before in your life, like it has already done for Ciaran here, who made over 72 grand in just over 3 months, booking 40 calls in 28 days. For the dentist consulting, a New York practice owner was drowning in daily operations, barely keeping up with $4 million in revenue, and after implementing our system, he grew to $8 million in just 18 months, successfully added 5 additional practices, and built systems so solid that the practice eventually sold for $42 million. And he created true freedom from day-to-day operations. Now for the agency course, we could say something like, well, just a few years ago, I was an ordinary guy working a minimum wage job and I hated the idea of working a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. Like you, I tried multiple business models. I was a sales rep, then I tried freelancing, and then I even tried to run an agency. You name it, I tried it. But ultimately, they didn't pan out as I hoped. However, everything changed when I discovered the untapped potential of this mechanism. This is a unique mechanism right here for this specific client called growth operating. Now, the next part of the video sales letter is going to be number 4, which is sharing common industry traps. Basically, what you're trying to do here is you're trying to invalidate and explain the common traps in your industry that your target is falling into before. And the most important thing here is explaining why they are currently struggling. and how what you do is going to invert that and be different and better, which is the next step, but just to tell you ahead of time. So what you're aiming for in step number 4 is essentially explaining their problem better than they can themselves, okay? I'll repeat that again. Explaining their problem better than they could even themselves. Because then when you do that, there's almost like an emotional connection built. Because they believe, they're like, oh wait, this guy, like, he knows what he's talking about. Like, he is, like, this person is, like, this is the person I should be listening to, right? Because you can explain their problem. You resonate with the market. You actually resonate with them better. That's why it's so important. So for example, for the green card, this is the example in his niche where I've personally, navigated the complex maze of US immigration from F1 to OPT. I'm not even going to read all these terms. You get the point. And my wife has been through it too. And so I've experienced firsthand the pain of the H-1B lottery and seamlessly endless wait for the green card. This means I understand not just how to get these visas, but I also understand how it feels to be in your shoes. Now you might be thinking right now, by the way, like, hey, like, none of this makes sense to me. And that's fine because you're not the target market. But you got to think that in this target market, this client knows his target market so well that he understands, that they're going to understand all these complicated terms that are in this script right here. So it actually relates to who we want it to relate to. And it doesn't relate to anyone we don't want it to relate to. That's the key right here. So you see how he's relating firsthand that he's been through it. His wife's been through it. So not only does he understand how to get these visas, but he also understands how he feels to be in their shoes. There's an attachment, an emotional connection being there where he is relating with his target market. That's why it's so powerful that if you're selling a service that fixes a problem, if you fix that problem for yourself, it's amazing because you know firsthand what it's like to fix that problem, which will relate with your target market. Okay, the next is cybersecurity again. So because if you're struggling to meet compliance requirements and close deals with larger clients, it's not your fault. You see, the truth is, traditional approaches to cybersecurity compliance often fail because they're based on fundamental misunderstandings of growing businesses. They assume all companies have the same resources, expertise, and time to dedicate to compliance. So this is directly speaking, again, to the target market. Finally, for the agency course, you'd say, right now, you're unable to scale beyond 5K a month, and it's not your fault. The online business world is full of outdated advice and gurus who haven't run a successful freelance or agency business in years or if ever. So, however, the reason our clients are consistently breaking past $10, $20, or even $50,000 a month is because of our unique three-pillar profit partner system. Again, unique mechanism at the end there. All right, now we're getting on to how to inverse the traps and the problems that are facing. So this is where we're going to share the 3 to 5 common steps your unique mechanism follows. So what are the steps your unique mechanism follows to get them to their dream outcome, right? So this is where you're actually listing off the steps of what you do. If you remember beforehand, when I just talked about in the first part of this video, where I'm talking about the steps here that you take. So obviously you know your target customer, you know who they are, you know the dream outcome they're trying to get to, and now you're just getting clear on what are the actual steps they're following, 3 to 5 steps in order to get that outcome. So you want to start talking about and helping them foreshadow what it will look like being inside your service and what it will look like actually following the process and getting the outcome that they want, okay? So for example, for the green card, step 1 is going to be a comprehensive gap assessment, strategic application preparation. Step 3 is going to be flawless execution and support. And obviously in the VSL, we explain a little bit how these work, usually about 2 to 3 sentences, just explaining the process. Client acquisition is going to be the quantum leap client acquisition strategy, the money magnet offer creation formula, and the scalable synergy fulfillment system. Number 3, the home cleaning service, which is another example, another one of our clients, is the client acquisition mastery, staff retention revolution, and system and process overall. So essentially you just need to get clear on the steps here so you know, okay, if you just envision and look back, where is this dream customer before they come and work with me? Where do they want to be? What are the steps, the key 3 to 5 fundamental steps they need to follow in order to get to that dream outcome, in order to make that progress that they want to make, right? Those just become your steps, and those become how you design your offer. Your offer and the subcomponents of your offer are just those steps that they need to make that jump of being where they are to fixing that problem and achieving the result that they want to achieve. Okay, now we're getting to the end of the video sales letter. Now, number 6 is going to be restating the benefit of running away from pain and what they'll gain doing that. So reinforce why they're watching the video and prime them to actually take action, booking a sales call with you, right? So as you can see here, I say, we'll ensure these key metrics get dialed so you're maximizing your return on ad spend and have plenty of room to scale. Because sometimes when you get to this part, you can lose your prospects' attention a little bit, especially if they're not completely solution aware, they're still a little bit problem aware. Of course, you need to introduce the solution so you can show them how what you do is different, but then you want to loop them back in with restating how that's going to fix their problem, right? So example, with the home cleaning, you can talk about now, imagine where you could be in just 12 months, running a smooth operation with motivated long-term employees, achieving consistent record months that open doors to financial freedom and feeling a sense of control and confidence in your business and creating a brighter future with more opportunities and more choices. For the dentist consulting, it can be we've helped over 1,800 owners escape the owner's trap and we focus on creating systems that work for you or work without you even. We build teams and that actually take ownership, and then here's what you need to do next. Click below to schedule your practice freedom strategy session. Join this call to identify what's keeping you trapped in your practice and create an immediate action plan to reduce your hours and show you exactly how to build a self-running practice. So again, we're reinforcing how we're going to help them fix this problem of overworked dentists, okay? Number 3 is going to be the cybersecurity again, where we're saying we've seen it transform businesses and unlock major growth time and time again. And if you want to break free from this compliance struggle, click below and book a call. The only way you can lose here is by not taking action. And I imagine where you could be in a few weeks, where you confidently handle sensitive data, knowing you're fully compliant. You can close deals, enterprise deals, without breaking a sweat. Focus on growing your business, knowing your compliance is rock solid, and stand out in the industry as a trusted and secure partner. Now, finally, the last thing you need to do, and this is really important in order to see the success with your video sales letter, is restate the market call out, guarantee, and CTA. CTA is basically call to action, okay? So you want to get them to take the action you want. So as you can see, what I say is click the button to book a demo. Now, example 1 of a green card would be, it's time to join the ranks of professionals who are achieving the EB1A or O1A visa success and securing their American dreams. Click that button below now. Your future self and your family will thank you. I can't wait for you to build your secure, successful future in America you deserve. Links, of course. And remember, if you don't sign 5 new high-ticket clients in the next 90 days using our AI LinkedIn client acquisition outreach system, you don't pay, and I'll personally send you $1,000 for wasting your time. If you're ready to transform your client acquisition strategy and scale your business, click that button below. I'm excited to speak with you and show you how we can take your business to the next level with the untapped power of LinkedIn. And then finally, the dentist consulting is, the choice is yours, but consider this. Every week you wait means another week of canceled personal plans, another week of 12-hour days, another week of feeling trapped. So click that button below now. Let's give back the freedom you deserve. Okay, well, I just explained the steps of building a high-performing video sales letter in this video on its own, which again, it would be worth thousands and thousands of dollars because building a successful VSL has made, me and my clients millions of dollars. It is literally been a groundbreaker having a successful VSL because, like I said, it's essentially turning just a lead who clicks through your ad and building confidence in your business, being actually excited to come to the sales call with you, booking that call, after watching that video sales letter, and it's going to drastically increase the number of sales calls you actually close. So a high-performing video sales letter will do 80% of the needle moving in actually converting strangers into sales calls. So again, remember what I told you with the funnel. We have ad, they click through, they come and see your VSL on just a website on a simple page, and then below that page or below that video, they're gonna click and book a call, but they've watched that video, so they feel confident in you, they feel confident in your system. Now I'll get more into how the funnel process works, but that is just an overall, the most important thing with this entire system is having the right video sales letter, even more than the ad, because the ad is just simply to get a click. The video sales letter is going to convert them into the sales call. So while the ad's getting the traffic, the video sales letter is actually doing the conversion. So this is what your funnel can look like. You have the market call out, you have the headline, your unique mechanism, some social proof, and the video sales letter right here. And then they can click the button below here to actually book a sales call, okay? So you can see right here how this could work for you, how this works actually in action. Now, in terms of you might be asking, well, the problem is if I just have a button down here and they can just come through and they can just book a call, won't loads of people just not watch the video and just book a call? Yeah, that can happen. And so what we do is we qualify our prospects with AI. So in a tool called Typeform, if you've never heard of Typeform, go and check it out. Awesome tool, awesome software. You can set up something called conditional logic. So what conditional logic is as they go through these form questionnaires, if they answer it a certain way that isn't deemed qualified for you, Well, we can just redirect them to like a downsell page where we just, almost like in a way kick them off, but in like a friendly way, not to like annoy some people. So that is like really, really powerful because it means that people who aren't qualified can't even book a call with you. So anyone who is qualified though will have the opportunity to book a call with you. You can see if they are qualified, if they answer the right questions, they can go up and book a demo call with us right here. If you want to integrate the booking software tool, I recommend using Calendly, by the way, one of the best booking software tools. It's so easy to use. You get people booking on your calendar, it connects to your Zoom, your Google Meet, and then you can just take the sales calls on your calendar every single day. Well, what you can do is you can directly integrate Calendly into the end of the type form, so they can just easily book a call at the end of the form. Well, a lot of people like to overcomplicate it with HubSpot, all these different, CRM tools. No, literally all you need to get calls booked and qualified calls booked is Typeform. And then within Typeform, you can just integrate your calendar from Calendly. And then at the end of the form here, after, I've answered all the questions and I've answered them through what's deemed qualified, I'll end up here, right? What is here is essentially this right here. And it just says book your demo call, and I can book my call right here. I can click, pick a date and time, and then all my information will already be saved from my answers in the type form, and then I can just schedule a call really fast and be on the calendar. This is the most efficient way to get sales calls booked. I book dozens of sales calls every single day, and I use this exact process right here. Now, what's important is after they booked a sales call is having something called a thank you page. Because when you're getting sales calls booked, the problem is that you can get loads of sales calls booked, but it doesn't mean they're all going to show up. You cannot assume that everyone's going to show up, right? And you might be saying, well, hold on, like if they're qualified, surely they're going to show up. That's not true at all. For example, say like for the dentist consulting business that we work with, dentists are very busy people, right? They can forget to come to the call. They might have had last minute emergencies. So it's important that we remind them and reinforce the importance of showing up to that call and what it's actually going to unlock. So the first step you want to do is you want to have a video reselling them on actually showing up to the call. So you just basically want to show more social proof, more testimonials, more case studies of your company. Tell them to confirm that call on their calendar. They'll get an email from Google Calendar and they can confirm that call. And then why the call will be worth their time and what you're actually going to help them with. This will just reinforce them showing up to the call, and the people that watch this video will show up to the call. Now that isn't all that you want on the thank you page. What you want below that is some social proof, and as much social proof as you can. As you can see here, I have a bunch of testimonials, a bunch of case studies that I have below here, which again just reinforces to people that we get results doing what we do. And then finally, and this is probably one of the most powerful things you can do for your actual sales calls and for getting people to show up, is if you have a YouTube video, if you have an ebook or asset or client case study, or some way of just representing your knowledge and your information, like I'm doing in this video right now, you can send that to your prospects. So for us, we send a video like this to our prospects through YouTube. And what this does is that they watch this video and they get to know more about what we do. They get more bought into what we do. And then they may even go and watch more YouTube videos of what we do. So that just means that we're building this massive ecosystem where before they even come to the sales call, they might have already spent 20, 30 minutes at least watching content from us and being more bought into the idea of what we're doing. Which means that I call it on the sales calls for my sales team, it's more of like a layup. Like my sales reps don't have to sell someone who is completely cold, who doesn't know what we do, and isn't like completely unaware of what we do. They're aware, they're warmer, they want to buy from us, and the sales rep just has to connect the dots on the call to get that deal over the line. It's so much easier. And if you have a sales team, or even if you're doing your own sales calls, your sales team will love you, or you will love yourself, because the sales calls will be so much easier. The next thing I do to make sure my prospects show up to the sales call is actually send them a batch of emails before the sales call. Now, the emails aren't like regular reminders. They're not saying, hey, please show up to this call. Not at all. What they're doing is they're essentially overcoming any objections that my prospects may have. So essentially, I can send them these emails to their inbox. They can read these emails, and any objections that they were going to come to the call with, I can actually overcome them in that email that they actually read. So I'd send anywhere from 7 to 14 emails within 48 hours of the prospect sales call. Now you might be wondering, like, whoa, that's a lot of emails. If they're actually serious and they're like very interested in what you have, it's not a lot of emails. They will eat those emails up. They will read them all. They will pay attention to them. They're gonna consume those emails and be more bought in to actually showing up to that sales call with you. So this means your prospects will show up to the sales call. Not only will they show up to the sales call, but there'll be more trust and intent with actually working with you. So you got to remember, all the stuff we're doing here to increase show-up rate of the sales calls that you're getting from ads is essentially taking cold leads that are up here, which are going to be the majority of people booking with you, and turning them into warmer leads, right? Who are more aware of what you do, more interested in what you do, and more bought into what you do. It's very hard for ads to turn anyone into hot leads. Those are people who've been following you for years and for a long time, and actually like very, 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 very bought, and you could basically just hand them, send them an invoice they're going to pay. But if we at least get them to warmer, it's going to be easier for you to close deals and make more money from sales calls. I know you've been wondering, Ciaran, you're going to talk about running ads for my service business. We're going to get onto that now. The previous part of this video was saying the foundations, because if you do not have the foundations correct, you're not going to be able to actually make ads successful. It's funny, in making paid ads successful, a very, very minor part of it is actually the ads. I would say it's like 10-15% of what makes it successful. The rest of it is what we've spoken about, the economics, how you position yourself, how your pricing works, how your funnel and sales process works. If you can get people to show up to sales calls warmer and more invested in what you have, that is the most important thing. But let's talk about the actual ads creation process now and how to create winning ads. All right, well, let's talk about how to make winning ads. So making winning ads is essentially all the goal is to sell the click, to get someone to be interested, to capture their attention and convert that attention into someone who is going to watch the video sales letter that we spoke about before, convert into a sales call and actually buy. So there's two topics we're going to cover here. How to create winning ads in under 30 minutes, and how to set up your ads account with the right targeting optimization. So I'm going to show these two live in action, right? I'm going to literally show you live how to do this. I'm going to write ad scripts live, okay? So winning ads are basically going to be a bite-sized version of your VSL. So all the principles of creating or writing a winning ad is going to be extracted from the VSL you actually wrote. So the difference is your ads are typically going to be, 15 to 30 seconds long. And the key fundamental to take away from the ads is to sell the click and not your service. Like your goal right here, all your goal is from an ad like this, is to get attention and sell the click to your video sales letter. That is it for your service, right? We're just trying to get the attention and extract that attention and turn that into interest from watching the VSL or the video sales letter. Now, what I've usually found is taking the first part of the video sales letter is going to be the key to this. It's going to be the key to turning that attention into interest. So let's do this right now. I'm going to dive into the live ad creation process. I'm going to jump to my laptop, share live, me writing winning ads, how I set up the ad account. You're going to see step by step exactly how I do it. So let's dive right in. All right, this is how to create winning ads and have the right ad targeting and optimization set up to actually make money with advertising. So let's get into the nitty gritty. The first thing you're going to need is you're going to need Claude.ai. So Claude.ai, you can get a free plan, and it's kind of like ChatGPT, but it's more prone for marketing material. It's better for actually creating winning copy or winning creatives for your ads and for everything else. So first of all, get Claude.ai. The next thing you're going to need is your VSL. Now, if you haven't written your VSL, this is fine. Just watch this section of the video because it will actually make more sense to you how this works and how everything here works. So I'll explain exactly how to create winning ads because we're going to be using your VSL to actually create them. That's the beautiful thing. Once you create this VSL, which I explained how to do earlier in this video, it kind of becomes this toolbox that you use for your entire marketing. So let's get right into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this first prompt right here. So this first prompt says, please analyze my VSL script so you understand my marketing angle and offer, including target market, pain points, desires, and promises. I'll ask you to refer back to this later. So let me copy this. I'm then going to paste this into Claude. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy my entire VSL script. So if I scroll all the way down, and I copy this. What that'll allow me to then do is that'll allow me to paste this into Claude. So I'm going to do that below. As you can see, it's pasted it down here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click submit. Now, Claude is currently analyzing my VSL and basically picking out all the key data points from the VSL and how it's structured. As you can see, it's spitting out right here. Now, while that's working, what we're going to do is go on to the next part of the next prompt basically. So I'm going to copy this right here and paste it. Now what this says is, thank you. Now please analyze this ad framework so you understand how to fill in the brackets and how to finish the ad. So niche over X amount a month will guarantee you an extra offer in the next 7 days or the next X days, completely done for you, or you don't pay a cent. Now you might be wondering, well, that's not a structure that I'm going to use for my ad because my ad is going to be, slightly different. That's fine. What you can use is you can use this prompt and just fill in the blank here. Say you do another kind of business and it's not tailored to, making more money or helping another company make more money. Well, then you can just change this around and have this as a different kind of setup. Like I said before, like I recommend having a direct offer like this, especially if you're in the B2B or doing a service. This is going to be really powerful. Now, if you're more B2C, then you can go a little bit more broader and you don't have to be as direct with the offer you make right here. As you can see, this is a completely direct offer. We're just telling them the offer basically and how it works. And that's how we open up the ad. Now, sometimes you can have an indirect offer where it's not going to be as direct. It's going to be a little bit more indirect. So you can just change this for whatever your offer is. But because mine is structured like this, I'm going to keep it out how it is. I'm just going to copy this right here. Then I'm going to go over and I'm going to click paste. So let me paste that in. As you can see, it's creating this ad framework for us right now. While it's doing that, I'm going to go to the next one. So then I'm going to ask it, please write me an ad about my offer, which I informed you in the VSL script I provided. I want the ad to follow the ad framework I provided in input, make it compliant for Facebook ads to avoid any time frame, earning claims, and word guarantee. The reason why we add that at the end is because Facebook ads, they have stricter policies, so you need to make sure it's compliant to avoid getting banned. So let's do that right now. So now this is done. I'm going to paste this in and then click paste. Now this is going to spit out exactly what we want. Just an ad creative right here. So as you can see, here's a Facebook compliant ad following your framework. So coaches and consultants over 20,000 a month will help you add 100 high qualified leads or clients to your business, completely done for you. And we'll do this without relying on organic marketing, cold outreach, or spending hours creating new marketing funnels. If it sounds interesting to you, click the button below, fill out your information, and book a call now. One of our clients went from low quality leads to closing premium clients. You get the point. It's created this entire ad, which is short but snappy and exactly what we want in order to get someone to make the click and actually go in and watch the VSL, right? Now, you can then ask it to create, you can say, can you create me 10 variations of this ad? Make sure each one has a unique hook. So a unique hook is going to be, this section, the opening right here. And then what it'll do is it's going to spit out 10 variations, but this is a really solid ad script. This is a really, really, really solid ad script that's been spelled out by AI, and you just saw it took me not even 5 minutes to do that, right? So now what I can do is I can paste this and I can record an ad, like a video, just with my phone. I just do it sat down with my phone, sat in front of the camera, and just deliver this exact script. And I know this can perform. And especially if your VSL is already proven to perform, this can perform. So if you're just needing a quick way to have ad angles and ad ideas, well then here you go, like 10 variations of your ad. You have all these different hooks that you can just put on the top here and test these different hooks. Because you have to remember with ads is the first 15 seconds matters the most. The hook at the top here is what's going to be getting them actually drawn in and paying attention to the ad. If your hook isn't very good, well then people aren't going to watch the rest of your ad. So the first sentence, the first line, the first 5 to 15 seconds is the most important. As you can see, Claude just gave me a ton of different angles I can use. So let's say that you have your ad right now and you're done with that, and you've shot the ad, you have the finished video, and you want to actually upload it. Well, let's go over and start doing that. Here's how to set up an ad. So in your campaign, when you open your ad account, you're going to want to go to create. What you're going to want to do for this system is leads. So you're going to want to optimize for leads because you're going to be trying to get booked calls. As you can see, one of it says it's good for is actually calls. So I'm going to hit continue. Now I would just do manual lead campaign because there's certain ways I want to set it up. So what you can just name this is your campaign name, and you can just name it whatever, your business name, whatever you want, okay? There's a few settings I'm going to turn on here. First one I'm going to turn on is Advantage Campaign Budget. The reason is the likelihood is when you're launching your first ads, you're going to have multiple different ads. So you're probably going to have 10 based on the fact that, Claude is giving you 10 right here. What I want Facebook to do is I want Facebook to spend on the campaign level, which is, as you can see right here, the highest level of the campaign, because then what Facebook will do is Facebook's going to distribute the ad spend to where the most profitable and best performing ads are. So the problem is, on the other angle, you could spend on the ad set level here, and this would be here if I didn't turn it on the campaign level. But the problem with that is that means each ad set has its own individual, ad budget. And the thing is that means it's down to you manually to adjust the budget for each ad set. So instead of doing that, as I get more and more ad sets, I just want Facebook, because Facebook's the most knowledgeable, has the best algorithm. It's going to know the best of how your ads are performing because it's getting all this data fed back to it. And instead of me having to manually adjust the spend and the budget for each ad set, instead on the campaign level, I just let Facebook distribute to where I want it to go. So I always turn this on, and then I can select how much I want my budget to be here. I don't touch anything else on the campaign level. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to ad set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to optimize for website, because we're obviously setting to a funnel with your VSL. And I'm going to click maximize number of conversions. And the data set I'm going to set up is just going to be my Facebook pixel. So you want to just set up a Facebook pixel and have a pixel live and good to set up. Now, one thing I will say, and I won't discuss it in depth in this video because it gets really, really complicated, is Conversions API. That is something really important that you set up for your pixel. And if you want to do that, you can just Google it. Like there's some YouTube tutorials. It goes a little bit complicated, but this is something we help our clients set up. Conversions API basically helps the pixel, which the pixel's the brain of the ad. The pixel's the brain of the operation, right? And that's what gets all the data so it can actually improve the ad targeting and make the ad targeting better. Now, Conversions API makes the Facebook pixel smarter. And the reason it does that is because since updates like iOS 14 and there's like cookie updates, which if you go on, if you go on a website and you pull up a website and it's like, can we track your data? That's like what third-party cookies are. Those are actually getting removed from the internet. And the thing is now it's just harder because people's privacy is bigger than ever. It's harder to actually be able to track your ideal customers. So what the Pixel does really well, or what it used to do really well, is actually targeting those customers. But now with iOS 14 and there's cookie updates, it's become harder to do that because the Pixel relied on those things to actually target. Conversions API doesn't. So Conversions API essentially is like able to track people's offline data, and it's going to make the pixel smarter. Super complex, super nerdy, I know, but this is just important. And if you want to have the best ads targeting, you definitely want to have Conversions API turned on, which I'm not going to explain exactly in this video, but there's plenty of tutorials, and also that's something we help our clients with as well. So I'm going to click this pixel I want, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the conversion event. So the conversion event you need to, if you are optimizing for booking sales calls, is schedule. A lot of people make the mistake of turning on lead. Now, lead could just be someone who opts in to your funnel, or someone who might apply for your to book a call with you, like in the type form. But we don't want the ads targeting someone like that, because that's not necessarily a qualified lead. We want the ads targeting someone who's actually scheduled a call with us using Conversions API, so we can send the data of the person who scheduled a call with us back to Facebook, and then Facebook can optimize for more people like that person who scheduled a call. Okay, so I'm going to turn this on right here. The next thing I'm going to do is, usually what I do is turn on dynamic creative tests. So what a lot of people do is they create all these separate ads. So if I just go here, I'll just duplicate this. They have all these separate ads right here in different ad sets, right? Or even in the same ad set if I didn't have dynamic creative tests turned on. And they put them all into the different, different ads, all the different creatives, all the different videos. The thing is with that is, what we really want to do is we really want to consolidate the ad creatives as much as possible, as much as humanly possible. So what do I mean by that? Well, if I go on to another one of my campaigns that I'm currently running right now, and I just go to, a winner of ours, let me go and find one. Okay, something like this. Okay, so this ad set right here has made us, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And as you can see, we have all these different we have 4 different creatives right here based on an angle that we had. Now, the thing is that if I go over to that actual ad set, then I can see that if I go to breakdown and I go to dynamic creative element, what I'm letting basically Facebook do is I'm letting Facebook optimize. This usually works. I don't know. Yeah, here we go. So what I'm letting Facebook do is I'm just letting Facebook optimize for the winner within that dynamic creative test. So what the dynamic creative test basically does is it combines, it's just going to test different videos for you, and it's going to find the winner. And as you can see, just like in the last few weeks, just this ad set alone, these ones barely got any spend. And the reason why they didn't get any spend is because they just weren't winners. They weren't getting conversions. But this one, which spent 13.6K, was getting conversions and was doing well. So it optimizes for more people like this. If I go back into where I was before, what basically the dynamic creative test is going to do is basically Facebook for you is just going to test the video combinations right here with the different ad scripts, which I'll get onto in a moment, combined with each other. And it's going to spit out the winning one, and that's what's going to get the most spend. So the point with Facebook ads is actually to work less. I optimize my ad account to not have to do as much work and let the actual Facebook, which is the most smartest, enhanced algorithm in the world, do that for me. So that's a really important thing to think about. Now, if I go down to here where I was before, I'm just going to select some videos of mine, some random videos I already have, and this is why I just select different videos, and you can do up to 10. And what that means is I can click continue, and then Facebook is going to, test those ones for me. So instead of me having individual ads running with different spends on each one, I just combine it all together, and Facebook will find, just based on feedback from how your ads perform, it'll find that winner that you actually want. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually add my website URL. So if you have your website URL with your VSL, you want to add that right here. Obviously, don't forget that. What I do is I click none right here. And then the next thing you need is primary text. So that is the ad description that you see on your ads when your ads are published. Let me show you an example. So if you ever look at this video, which has got 131,000 views, you can see this is the text that we have on the actual ad. Now the text is really important because that's what's going to qualify your audience and actually get better quality people coming into your funnel. This is one of the biggest things I've found to actually qualify, because a lot of people might just read this, not necessarily watch the video, and click through. So let me create this for you in just 30 seconds. So if I go back over to here, back to where I was before, where this is created ad to me, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this following prompt. So as you can see right here, it says, please turn the following ad scripts into Facebook ad descriptions. Please make sure that the first 3 lines are intriguing and captivating so that the reader will want to continue reading the ad, because the full copy isn't shown on Facebook ads unless they manually select they want to read more based on whatever is mentioned in the first 3 steps. So make sure that you get the most desirable components of the offer in the first 3 lines. If you remember, so on typical ads, if I show an example over here, back to where we were before, a lot of ads won't actually show the entire text, especially on Facebook. So let's grab this and let's go back over to here, and I'm going to click share link, grab that and open it. So if you have a look here, a lot of the text is you're only going to see this much right here. You have to actually click see more, especially on mobile. And mobile is what you want to optimize for the most. On desktop, you can see more, but mobile is what matters the most, because most people watching your ads are going to be on their mobile, not on desktop. So you want to make sure this is optimized on mobile, and especially this needs to spark curiosity the first few points in the actual ad. So that's what we optimize for right here. So let me copy this and paste this into Claude now. Claude is then going to spit out the actual ad hook or the ad creative. Okay, it looks like it had some problems out. Let me clarify this. I want you to create Facebook ad descriptions, not a script as mentioned in the message above. Please create 2 variations. Here we go. So as you can see, it's spitting out 2 variations of this. And one thing I'll say is please remove emojis. I don't know. I just think it gives it gives a scammy, weird look on your business if you do that. So then you just can remove that, and then as you can see, it's spelled out variation 1. So I can copy this and paste this into my actual ad description. Now, keep in mind when you're doing this, it's likely that you're going to want to make some changes to the actual ad description. It's not going to be perfect the first time. You might go in here and you might just want to, let me just clean that up. You might want to clean up the actual ad script itself. It might not be perfect for exactly what you need with the text. It might say some things wrong, but you can clean that up and you can just go for an edit. The point of the AI isn't to make the copy perfect. It's just to spit out good quality copy fast. As you can see, here we go. I just need to format this. And now we have an ad creative right here. So now this is done. We have the primary text in. So everything is looking good. Everything is looking set up. Now you can usually unlock a preview here. Sometimes there's an issue with it. If you put in the link, I'm going to pull up my link from my website and drop that in. Now that's set up, it will show the preview. So as you can see, I have the preview text here showing. I have the ad actually playing, and I can see now, if I want to see an example, link sharing, days, copy. I can see live what it actually looks like spat out once it loads. Right here, okay? So you can see what your ad looks like, the finished version and everything like that. So the next thing you can do is then actually go and publish. So they usually from here, I don't do anything else. I might add a description or a headline. You can say, check out how our AI, and then that's set up there. So that is how I, very simply, if I wanted to, launch ads as quickly as possible that were high quality, or at least really, really, really solid with a baseline, this is how I would do it. Now, don't get me wrong. There's definitely, if you're a more advanced marketer, there's things you can improve about this. And obviously, I'm not saying you out the gate, you're going to, create these ads and after 10 minutes and they're going to crush for your business. That's not necessarily true. But what that does do is it allows you to get your ads out fast without it needing to be a really overwhelming and difficult task, just using the prompts that I shared right here. So it can actually be easier than you think. And hey, we've tested this and a lot of people have tested this as well. And, they've done this and they've been able to spit out winning creatives that book them calls right away. So the next thing I would just do is click publish. Make sure you just name your ad account. You can just do the date and then the name of your ads. You can do the name of your ad set too, and then your campaign name. And then from there, you have everything you need to launch the ad and get it live. And from there, you can start to improve, make new creatives. But the most important thing when launching your ads is just getting it out fast and getting it out quick. And this is exactly how I would do it. So let's continue the video from here and let's talk about once now you know how to write winning ad scripts, you know how to set up the ad account and targeting. Put simply, just by the way, one thing I'll touch on that is, as you can see, I didn't set up any enhanced targeting. I didn't do any, you can go into the ad set and you can create, all this crazy targeting. One thing I do is I always add United Kingdom, United States, Canada, and Australia. And if you want to add anywhere else, feel free. But apart from that, I don't do anything else. Like I don't add I don't mess with the age. I don't upload custom audiences because quite frankly, there's a new way of running ads and it actually is just letting Facebook have a broad amount of data, and Facebook, based on your ad copy now, that is the main way Facebook's going to get in front of your audience. It used to be, you need to put all these manual audiences in that you wanted to target these certain types of audiences. But now, because, Facebook's working on a lot less data than it does before, all that does is just cut down the amount of people you can target and makes your ads more expensive. So the better way of doing it now is just going broad and using your ads, letting your ad creatives actually do the targeting for you. Like for me, I call out service providers and coaches in my ads, and I get in front of those people every single day. And as you can see, and as you saw from my winning ads that were spending a lot of money every single month, I didn't have any crazy, ads set up. I just did broad targeting, and that got me in front of the people I want. So that's exactly how I would set up for you. So now you know how to set up, the targeting and the ad account structure. So let's continue the video from here. So that just shows you that creating and launching ads can be simple when getting started. You don't need to be, it's not something that's super complicated. It's not something that's super hard to get started with. It's actually dead simple to learn. And I just showed you live how to create winning ad scripts and how to set up your ad account to actually win and create winning ads. So now we've got that done, let's summarize our app. So number one, you have a winning offer, you have winning positioning, and pricing structure to scale your service on paid ads. Number two, you have a funnel that converts and schedules you sales calls for your business. And number three, you have winning ads and the best ad account targeting and optimizations to also, win and have the right setup for your service business. So let's get on to number four. Let's get on to how to set projections with your service business to actually win. So you have everything in place to make paid ads work now for your business. But there's one last step. You need to have revenue projections to make everything tick. Right? A revenue projection is essentially what your outcome is, what your revenue is going to be with your business by this date, by this year, etc., etc. Now, the problem how most service businesses do their revenue projections is they do it based on where they want to be, right? But now you're starting with paid advertising, you can start to do it based off where you're going to be. If you think about it, you're introducing the idea of running ads to your service if you haven't already. And what that means is that you actually control the amount of the inputs you have that bring in prospects and customers to your business. You control that now. So with that in mind, that means you can predict the output of what your total revenue is going to look like. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. It looks complicated, I promise you it's not. So why set projections in the first place, and why is this included in this video? Well, the whole goal of introducing paid traffic and paid ads is to grow your business, to grow your service business ultimately. Now, you can still run ads, you can do everything I mentioned in this video, and you'll still be successful. It's important to have a clear direction of where you want your service business to be, to tell you how much you need to spend on advertising to hit your revenue targets. Because now you're introducing the concept of advertising spend, you can directly reverse engineer what you need to hit your revenue targets, right? You'll be able to figure out how many calls you get, for how much ad spend you spend. You're gonna be able to figure out what your show-up rate is. You're gonna be able to figure out how many deals you close on the calls you get. And that helps you create sales goals for you to reach your objectives. And it also is going to directly tell you the bottlenecks that are needed to fix your business in order to hit your targets. Because if you think about it, if you just write out all the key KPIs in your business that are needed to hit your goals, and all these things need to be in place in order for your ad spend to deliver the desired result that you want, that is revenue, well then you can look at, okay, which parts are not in place if you're not hitting those revenue targets. You can see directly, maybe my show rate's really low, and this is why I'm not getting enough calls live, so that my sales team isn't actually closing enough volume. Or maybe you're getting all the calls, but your sales team is only closing at 15% of the calls, or 10%, which means that you're missing out on potentially 25-30%, which you could be at in deals closed, right? So this tells you exactly what the bottlenecks are in the business. Okay, so the data sets. So this is what we need to outline right here. This is what I'm talking about. So the data sets are the inputs needed to create the revenue targets and the goals that you want to achieve. So what I use, and you can just copy from me because we're both using the same system for our service, is what I use for my system is cost per qualified call, show-up rate, the price point of my service, the close rate I have on the live calls, my average upfront cash collected, which say I'm selling a $8,000 program. Say for example, on average, I collect $4,000 of that $8,000 upfront on the first call or on the first deal. Well, that's 50% upfront cash collected. Okay, it's unlikely you're going to always collect $8,000 upfront. Most of the time, you're going to collect anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000 of that $8,000. Usually around 50 to 60%. Okay, and then obviously churn rate. Churn rate is super important for a service business because actually what you're going to realize is what clicks everything together for your service is the ability to keep your clients as well and keep them on, okay? So here are the numbers that I attach to each data set. These are my numbers, what I use for my business. It can be different, but usually it's going to be around the same, and I'll explain why. Now, I'm really conservative with my numbers that I attach to the data set because I want it to be unrealistic for me not to hit my business goals. I want it to be like ridiculous for me not to hit my business goals. So the numbers I attach to each data set, for the cost per qualified call, which how much it costs for me from my advertising spend to get a qualified call. Like for example, say I spend $100, I get 2 calls, and they're qualified. Well then that was $50 cost per qualified call. So what I aim for is it really depends on how big your market is. And that comes back to the concept of TAM. So TAM, total accessible market, is how big and how many people are actually in your market that you can actually reach. So if your market, your TAM, is over 1 million people in the United States, in the world, depending on where you're targeting, I say that you can get a cost per qualified call conservatively for $300. If your TAM is underneath 1 million people, well, I say it's going to be about $450 cost per qualified call. So it's going to be a little bit higher because if you think about it, as you grow the market gets bigger, there's a bigger TAM, it's going to dilute the cost because there's actually more people you can get in front of. That being said, say your market's smaller, it's going to also cost more because it's going to be rarer to get in front of those people. However, because you're more niched, it's not necessarily a bad thing that your cost could be higher because you're more niche and those people will pay more because you're more custom built for them almost. Show up rate 60%, meaning that say you book 10 sales calls and 6 of them show up, that'd be a 60% show up rate. Price point, $8,000 plus. We've already discussed this earlier in the video on the importance of charging higher ticket. Close rate on live calls. So say you or your sales team, say you have 10 calls. If you're closing 2 of them, that'll be a 20% close rate on live calls, okay? And you might be saying, well, Ciaran, like I've closed, over 40, 50% on, like my organic calls. The key is to go back to the cold, warmer, and hot kind of leads you get. Those were hot leads. You can close 40, 50, 60, 70, even 80%, even all your calls on hot leads, right? On cold leads though, the one thing paid traffic introduces is that you're going to a wider net of people, which means you're going to get more types of people coming in who don't necessarily know about your business, but you're getting in front of more people, which is great, and you're attracting more people. But they're a little bit harder to close because they're more cold leads. So that's why I'm much more conservative with the close rate. And what I've seen with my clients is anywhere from 25 to 35% on average. But again, I like to be conservative at 20. So, and then the average up from cash collected, again, like I said before, on average, I've seen anywhere from 50 to 60%. But again, I like to be conservative at 40%. And then churn rate, 15%, meaning that churn rate, how it's defined is at the start of each month, how many customers you have on retainers or in your business, basically overall, to start the month. And how many of those customers who were there at the start of the month, not including new customers you might get during the month, but how many were there at the start, and how many of those people are left by the end of the month. That tells you your churn rate. And again, I like to be conservative. Ours is actually anywhere from like 5 to 10%, but again, I want to be at 15% just to be extremely conservative. Again, why I'm conservative here with the data sets is I like to make it unrealistic for your business not to hit your goals. I like to make it unrealistic for you not to achieve the outcomes that you want. So again, like I said before, if you want to find out your TAM, your total accessible market, I just go and ask ChatGPT. So for example, say I ask ChatGPT, how many dentist practices are there in the United States? Well, for example, they can say, as of 2024, there's approximately 200,000 dental practices in the United States. Keep in mind, if you're going broader than the United States, if you're going in countries outside, you can ask how many is there in, US, UK, Australia, Canada combined, right? You can ask in all those countries combined. But I like to just, ask in the United States just to be simple here. What is said right here is 200,000 dental practices, right? Dental practices, which is what my client here is targeting. So what that means, to go back to what I was saying before, is that's under 1 million people. So we're going to set the cost per qualified call at $450 because the TAM's smaller, so costing me slightly higher because there's actually less people the ads can get in front of, which means that it's just going to be higher costs. Okay, so now we've created the data set numbers. Let's say your target is $50,000 a month for your business. Now we have that in mind, we can actually create that target and clearly reverse engineer on how to hit it. I'll do it live right now. So say your target's $50,000. Your price point is $10,000 for 3 months, 4 months. You collect $4,000 upfront on average, because that's our upfront cash collected, 40%. And then the rest is in payment plans across the rest of the 2 to 3 months. But again, you're collecting more upfront on average than you would if you're just doing a regular retainer. Then what we have is $50,000 target. We divide that by $4,000 in the upfront cash collected, and that's going to equal 13 deals needed to hit 50 grand in cash collected. So now we know how many closes are required. Let's figure out how many calls are needed to actually hit that many closes. Well, let's say that, again, your target is $50,000. The close rate is going to be multiplying your close rate, essentially, because you're taking 13 closes. You need 13 new clients to hit $50,000 a month. If you multiply that by 5, because 20%, again, from the data set we created before, is the average, so we want to basically divide 100 by 20, which is 5, so multiply 5 by the number of closes, and that's going to equal the number of live calls that you need to have in order to close 13 deals conservatively, which is 65 live calls for the month. That's how many live calls you or your team needs to close 13 deals conservatively, okay? Again, this is conservative. I'll be really surprised with your service if you don't close 13 deals out of 65 calls. So again, we're trying to make it unrealistic for you not to hit your goals, okay? Now, we got to factor in that, okay, we need 65 live calls, but we got to remember that that's not how many calls we need to book, because it's going to be a 60% show up rate, which means that 40% don't show up for the call. So what we need to do is, not everyone who books with you is going to be a live call. So we need to take that 65, divide that by 0.6, which is the 60% show up rate, and that means we need 108 total calls booked from ads for that month, right? So you need at most 108 calls booked from ads to hit $50,000 a month with your business. So how much do you need to spend, though, to get those 108 calls? Well, let's say that you have a $300 cost per qualified call, or $350, whatever you want to target. Out of those 108 calls booked, you can do 108 multiplied by 300 cost per qualified call, which equals $32,400 in advertising spend. Now, you might be saying, I don't have that, out of the gate. That's fine, but I'm telling you what you conservatively need to hit $50,000 a month. So you may not have it right now, but you can build up to that point. Keep in mind, this is conservative. We're making it unrealistic for you not to achieve $50,000 a month. And then when we add everything together, well, then this is the summary that we get. Because we need $32,400 per month on advertising, that's $1,000, just over $1,000 a day, which equals 4 qualified calls booked per day, 2 that show up per day, and then 13 deals we need from those calls per month, with an average of $4,000 in upfront cash collected, which is going to equal $50,000. But you got to remember, you might be thinking, well, I'm spending 32 to only make 50 back. Well, here's the thing, is that in contracted revenue, if you take, you got to think you only collected 40% of the deals up front. The rest you got on payment plans that you're going to collect in payments next month or the month after that. So if you take out of the 60% that you didn't get because you have a 40% upfront cash collected, you actually did it, you actually have $83.333 thousand to collect the following few months, right? So 50% is 40% of 125K. So what that means, in contracted revenue, you're going to make 125K across the next 3 months from $32,400 in ad spend. And this is why it's important to extend the time horizon a little bit over just a month with advertising. Because with your service, it's likely you're not going to collect everything up front. So you might have to wait, 2 to 3 months to collect the rest of the cash. And at that point of collecting the rest of the cash, you're making 125K overall from ads from just 32.4K in spend. So not a bad return from your ads. Let's say though that your churn rate is at 15%. So again, churn rate is customers at the start of the month who are still paying at the end of the month, excluding new clients signed during the month. So your monthly price point is, say, $10,000, and then divided by 3 months, about $3,000 per month. Just a little bit more than that. But just to keep it simple for math, at your monthly price point divided by the churn rate, $3,000 divided by the 0.15, which is your churn rate, is 20K, which means that on average, at your churn rate of 15%, not only are you just making the $10,000 for 53 months, but you're actually collecting $20,000 in total from that customer after the initial 3 months. Because with your churn rate, you can calculate based on your price point per month how long it's going to take, or how much you'll make and you'll extract from that customer lifetime value. And then you can take the retention rate, which is going to be 100 divided by the churn rate as an absolute number. That'd be 100 divided by 15, which is your churn rate, which means they retain for 7 months. So that tells you with your churn rate that on average in lifetime value, you're making $20,000 from each client you get on your service. And then as an absolute number across the retention rate, you're keeping them for 7 months on your service, okay? On average, they'll sell 7 months of your service. So your lifetime value is actually $20,000 from your customer. Now that changes the game, because when you think about, like, it's so important in your service to think about lifetime value, not just your price point, because the game of winning with your service is keeping the customer for as long as possible. So say you had 13 deals a month, right? And each of those deals now is worth $20,000. So 13 multiplied by 20K is 260K in lifetime value. And then now, so your ad spend like before was 32.4K. Well, you've acquired 13 customers. The customer acquisition cost is going to be 32.3 divided by 13, which is $2,500 in your customer acquisition cost. And then your LTV again is 20K. So that means that your customer acquisition cost is 2.5K to get the customer, to get the client like signed on to your business. On average, they spend $20,000 with you across the duration of working with your business, and they stay on for 7 months, which means that you get an 8x return on your advertising spend across the duration of that client staying with you for the 7 months. And you might be saying, oh, Ciaran, this is all good in theory, but this is actually how like running a service works. It's understanding what your churn is, understanding what your LTV is, understanding what your CAC is. Because if you just take it at the point of the first month or the first 3 months your customer spends with you, well, then you're always going to be playing the game small, because you don't calculate with your service how much they stay on after that as well. That's the power of the service business, is that you can keep clients for a very long time and keep them on for a very long time. And that's why it's so important to measure the success of your ads in lifetime value, CAC to LTV, like I was talking about at the beginning of this video, and really, like measuring your success based. Thinking longer than day one with advertising is how you outcompete everyone. That's one of the last messages I'm going to leave here. Again, I go back to the Dan Kennedy quote, that he who can spend the most to acquire customer wins. If you look at this, it's like, okay, your CAC, your customer acquisition cost is 2.5K, but you know across the next 7 months, that client on average is going to pay you 20K and stay for 7 months, which means that you can feel comfortable even if that goes up to 5 grand or 4 grand. You know, across the 7 months, you're still going to make 20K back on average from that client. And that's how you really scale. So this is why I love so much running service businesses through paid ads. It is almost like a cheat code when you actually extend the time horizon of how you think. Because you discover your customer acquisition costs, you reverse engineer how to hit your targets and how to hit your revenue targets using the greatest input of them all, paid advertising and advertising spend. And you put customer acquisition in your hands with a predictable system that attracts your ideal customers like clockwork. Again, the formula that I've been preaching throughout this video is this. This is what I want you to be thinking about and what I want you to be taking away from this video for your service business. But not only that, keep in mind that now with paid ads, if you launch this and you follow the steps I showed you in this video, you have a system where you don't have a churn and burn business. You don't know where your next client is going to come from. You do now. You're in control. You know that you're going to be, every single day you spend money on ads, you're going to get X number of calls, X number of people who show up, and X number who close. And that's the beauty of it. And if it's not like that, well, then there's a data set and there's a constraint in the business, and all you have to do is attack and fix that constraint. But you have control in how you actually scale your service business. So let's summarize what we covered. Number one, we covered how to build your paid ads economics to scale, right? How to actually build the foundations to be able to grow through paid ads and build a consistent client acquisition system for your service business. The next thing we covered is the funnel and sales process to scale. How to convert the traffic that you get from ads into sales calls, okay? Number three, I actually showed you live making winning ads, and also how to design your ad account to also win as well. How to use the Facebook ad account, how to set up a campaign, and how to launch ads too. And then I showed you number four, we went deep into the math on how to set clear growth projections with your service business and actually hit them predictably, so that you can sit down with you, your team, and actually hit your goals with your service business based on the inputs of advertising spend and knowing your customer acquisition costs and your lifetime value. Well, with that being said, if you watch this video from start to finish and you're a little bit overwhelmed with everything I've shared, well, you can click the link in my description and you'll see a link to Customers on Command, where I will share exactly how we can implement everything I just showed you for you so you can actually scale your service business through paid traffic. Doing it alone can be difficult, it can be challenging. There's a lot of hurdles that come up, And we've done this for countless clients in hundreds of different niches. So we've seen firsthand all the different roadblocks that come up and all the different mistakes clients can make. So we can fix those for you. That way you can work less, make more, and you can still scale your service business through paid traffic and be able to hit all these goals we've spoken about in this video, but not do it just on your own. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.